everyone to the Outtakes Movie Podcast. I am Sam, and we are on our penultimate episode of our quest to go through and find the 50 best to worst movies of all time objectively. I'm joined, as always, by my amazing team. Amelia, how's things?
I'm so ready to just basically be a Kylo Ren stan throughout the whole of this, so I will apologise in advance.
Amazing.
Apart from that, I'm good.
To be honest with you, I'm glad you've got a positive outlook on it, because like while I was excited last week when we announced this movie very quickly got exhausting. Joe, how are you doing?
Not too good. I had to watch this movie for the third time.
And Jacob, how's things?
Things trying to make notes on this and like try and find an interesting way to talk about it. We'll see. We'll
you
see.
deserve
we'll
a medal.
I'm hoping that this episode becomes a bit of like a catharsis, to be honest with you, because when I first saw a cinema, what am I talking about?
There's one.
When I first saw the film in the cinema, I was with people, you know, I was with Charlotte, and we were making jokes, and to be honest with you, I just came up going, well, that was stupid, but at least we had a good laugh. On my own, I was like,
it's not the same, is it?
It's just not the same. So before we dive into it, what we're going to do is we're going to go on our regular pop culture rundown. It was only last year.
Yeah, this is weird.
So it came out on the 19th of December, 2019. And this time, for the first time since we've done a December movie ever, I think it's actually full of Christmas stuff, just everywhere. So number 38, well, this one's technically not a Christmas song, but it's Into the Unknown from Frozen 2.
Oh, God.
Charted.
Yeah.
Didn't do as well as the first one, but still charted. Then we're kicking right into it. Number 36, Merry Christmas, Everybody, Slade. Number 34, I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day by Wizard. Number 25, Michael Bublé awakens from his slumber, and it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Then we get an actual like lasting hit, Blinding Lights by The Weeknd at number 17.
Oh my god,
wow.
that came out last year.
That came out last year.
This song is old,
Right.
man.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it stood the test. It's kind of cool in a way to find that out and be like, holy shit, that might be like a classic it's a good song. It's a fucking good song.
Man.
And then the rest of it is just Fairy Tale, Do They Know, Last Christmas, All I Want. You know, they all charted, right? So off into the world of video games. But it's quiet. It's the end of December. Not much is coming out. So the third Borderlands come out. Has anyone played that?
No.
Nah.
I know a few people who did, but I wasn't that bothered.
Me neither. And really surprisingly, an expansion to EverQuest came out, which is the longest running MMO of all time. It started in the mid-90s, and they're still updating it. And that's fucking wild. In the world of cinema... Sorry, go on, Joe.
At this point in time, right, I don't know if you checked. At this point in time, when this film came out, when did we think Cyberpunk was coming out at this point? Did we still believe it was going to come out in like June or something?
I didn't check,
it was.
but impulse makes me want to say it would have been March.
Well,
Maybe.
I swear my brother got excited that it was going to come out in November because that's his birthday. So I think we'd already passed the point of pushing it back by now. Because he then got excited. I don't know. I feel like...
delays where they pushed it back to November was definitely in the middle of this year. Because I remember it was meant to come out around the same time as The Last of Us.
Yeah, that's right.
And then that got delayed. And then this got delayed. And they were like, it's been delayed or whatever. And it was a whole mess. So I think
they're just never bringing it out. I think it's all a joke.
Yeah. Guess we'll find out
on December 10th. I don't think it's happening yet.
Oh, you know what's
I
so
actually don't think it's going to come out. Go on.
You know what's so depressing? It would have come out today. If it was meant to come out today.
Right.
Oh, that's so depressing.
Can I tell you a bit of more important information before we carry on about today? Because you've jogged my memory. I was supposed to say this and be kind of cool and staged in the how you doing and then tell you this. I forgot. Oh, well, that's just my life. Even though this film's a bit crappy, right? At least we're filming it on today. Yes, okay, Cyberpunk might have come out today. But there's an even more important event that happened 37 years ago today. Adam Driver was born today. It's Adam Driver's birthday today. I kid you not. I googled how old he was, saw that he was 37 and cried a bit, not gonna lie.
Wow.
And then it said that his birthday was the 19th of November, and I was like, wait, what?
Well, there's a little birthday present for you, Adam. It's going to arrive late, a week late, but
Yeah.
This is
but as of the recording date, it is Adam Driver's birthday. Happy birthday, you big man. Like,
hope you enjoy this. I can tell we are slightly delaying talking about this movie, but it's fine. We've still got one more little bit of pop culture to get through. So in the world of cinema, instead of seeing The Rise of Skywalker, you could have potentially seen the Jumanji sequel. I still have not watched any of these films, but you all tell me that they're actually all right. Yeah.
I've seen parts of the first one and it seems
Fair
okay.
enough.
I don't have the nostalgic love for the original.
Yeah,
It's
I've
not
not
something
seen
I
it.
watched
I
as a
do.
kid.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I've not seen the original.
1917 came out, which people
I
also
really
tell me
want
is
to
a
see
good
that.
flick.
Film, that,
Yeah.
Good film.
Some of the
Better
stuff that
than
I have
it,
seen
Jesus
from it
Christ.
is very impressive, and potentially the best movie of the entire month. The Playmobil movie came out.
Oh! Wasn't like
the word,
Daniel
yeah.
Radcliffe was in that, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Cool.
was.
A bunch of famous people in it. I don't know how they pulled it off.
No, neither do I. I think just the perception of like what the Lego movie did, the first one. People were like, "Oh, well, toy movies are popular now. I'll be in that." Bad decision. Okay, we cannot put it off any longer. We're here to talk about Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Jacob, take it away.
Yeah, so let's start how we normally do. Well, it's a bit of a twist though. So the budget, as we normally start off, was $275 million, which made it the 7th most expensive film of all time.
God.
Yeah. But before I ask you what you think it made at the box office, I've got a couple of questions for you all. So, Joe, how many Pirates of the Caribbean films are in the top 10 most expensive films of all time? Do you think?
Oh, top 10.
That's amazing.
What was this one? What was the thing for this?
The budget for this one was $275 million.
I'm sure one of them's like, I don't know.
Take
I'm
a
going to
guess.
say 3 of them.
3.
Fake fan.
It's 2. So there are 2. So
Close.
Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End is joint 5th most
that's-
expensive, and Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides is the most expensive. Somehow.
Really?
This
Holy
list is
shit.
according to Wikipedia, and I'm very surprised by it myself, as I'll explain once we've done the whole rundown.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah, so that Pirates of the Caribbean, 3? I think. Apparently,
Tides is 4.
okay, 4. That had a budget, supposedly, of $379 million, which is a lot.
Do you reckon that most of that
To be
is
fair-
people's contracts?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, they had some big names. Plus, they filmed like a lot of it like on location as opposed to like sets and stuff like they did.
Oh,
Like
okay.
I imagine it's cheap to just film on like a Caribbean or South African island or something. You know what I mean? Whereas like in the 4th one, they go to like the streets of London and like they go to like fucking other places that are probably expensive.
Okay.
You know, plus
Alright.
they had to pay for that guy to play Botbeard. So you know.
Amelia, how many of the films in the top 10 are Disney films or produced by Disney?
Okay. Are we saying, like, for example, now that Star Wars is owned by Disney, do they count, or are we just going generic Disney films?
No, including like Star Wars and films of that
Okay.
sort.
Oh, like top 10, are we saying?
So yeah, how many of them in the top 10 are produced or made by Disney?
I'm going to say it's at least a good half, if not third. So I'm going to say out of 10, I think 6 of them are somewhat linked to Disney, with the others being
9.
like your Titanics and stuff. 9.
9.
I mean, to be fair, I need a thing. I know that like
Oh.
isn't like a good chunk of like the movies that make the most in box office. Like a good chunk of them are Disney films.
Yeah.
like
definitely.
one of them's Star Wars and one of them's fucking
Is Avatar
Avengers
still up there?
and
Or was
yeah,
that just,
Avatar
yeah.
is
Yeah, that's Disney.
technically Disney now as well. Yeah, so
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
they own a big chunk. I was expecting to be like a big
Disney.
big
What
number.
don't Disney own? That's the point it's getting to in cinema at the minute.
It'll be us
isn't
in a
it? Like-
bit.
Yeah.
Proud to announce the Outtakes Movie Podcast owned by Disney.
Does that mean we get our own ride in Disneyland?
He's not allowed to swear anymore.
And Sam,
Yes.
how many Transformers films are in the top 10?
1, because you said 9 of the others are Disney films.
I realised in telling you how many, I've slightly ruined that.
Can I guess which one it is?
Well, there aren't any.
Oh.
There aren't any in the top 10.
Okay, fair
There's
enough.
a bit of a red herring there for you. Sorry.
Cheated.
But yeah, the 9 Disney films. So you got the 2 Pirates of the Caribbean ones, Avengers, Age of Ultron, Endgame, Infinity War, Solo.
What?
Solo.
Oh, no.
Solo cost the same amount as Rise of Skywalker, apparently.
Fuck off.
Ooh.
That's gotta be because of
Oh my
switching
God.
out directors though, surely.
100%.
I
Yeah.
reckon so, because of reshoots and stuff. Which is kind of makes it even more sad that because it came after Last Jedi and that one got like a lot of bad rep, Solo just got slated and hit losing profits.
Yeah,
even
everyone
more.
practically ignored it, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Rise of Skywalker, John Carter. I'm pretty sure that's a Disney movie, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
John Carter of
God,
Mars,
Jesus
that
Christ.
one.
That really weird one, yeah.
That's
Oh my
that's it.
God.
Number 9. Last Jedi and Tangled and Force Awakens. Actually, no, I've gone beyond top 10 there. It ends at Batman v Superman, which is 10.
Oh. Okay.
I went down to 13 because Last Jedi's at 11, Tangled's at 12, and then Force Awakens at 13th.
Wow.
So yeah, as I said, Batman v Superman is 10th, and then Justice League is joint 5th with that At World's End, Pirates of the Caribbean.
I mean, is that including the new stuff for Justice League though? Because that's surely going to be climbing the ranks as we speak.
I don't think so. It's not the Snyder Cut.
Okay.
That's gonna cost crazy money.
Haven't they already said they're throwing like another couple mil at him or something?
It's like 70 million, something like that.
Stupid
Yeah.
shit.
Ridiculous.
Crazy.
Man.
And also still struggle to get into the film industry as beginners. They're giving Zack Snyder ridiculous amounts to remake the same film.
Yeah.
God.
So yeah, as I normally do, what do you think the box office, so the global, all of the box office for the run of this film was?
I remember this. I mean, it's Star Wars, so it does well. So what I'm about to say, like, people will be like, "Oh, well, no, it made X amount of money." It didn't do as well as the previous 2. I'm fairly certain of that. Like, news traveled
Correct.
fast. The previous 2, I think, broke $1 billion. I think.
Yeah, do you want me to tell you how they did?
Yeah.
So episode 7 did just over 2 billion. Billion. And episode 8, 1.3 billion as well.
Okay, so I'm gonna say this is still a lot of money, obviously, but $800 million around there.
Okay.
I was gonna say about 950. No, not 950. Not 9. No, 950 million.
I was going to be in the 900 million club as well, yeah. So I'll just
Okay.
go bang on 900, yeah.
Fair enough.
That's a lot of money.
You're all pretty close, but it did actually break $1 billion.
Oh, wow.
I was gonna say it barely broke $1 billion, but it made what? 1,074 million.
Oh.
That's still a shit ton of money.
no.
Opening weekend
That's more money
itself.
than any of us are gonna see in our lifetime.
Literally.
Yeah, likely.
Oh yeah. Opening weekend it made 373.5 million. So again, crazy high numbers. Not as high as the previous 2 Star Wars episodes. So 7 and 8 beat it both times. And before I go any further, while I was doing research for this, all I put in was just the Rise of Skywalker into Google, and you know how it comes up with those people also ask.
Yeah.
Questions. I've got those.
Oh,
written
go
down.
on.
So people also ask: is Rey Luke's daughter? I mean, I guess they just do that so they don't have to watch the movie. Is Rise of Skywalker the last movie ever? Just the last one, but no one else was allowed to make any films after this movie.
Do you know what? It does baffle me actually that Disney could get away with that marketing campaign, like the last Star Wars movie. Like, we all know it's not. Like, we all know it's not, and yet there was still people that'll buy it for some reason. I don't understand why.
Yeah. Who is Rey's dad?
Just
Again,
dad.
You can come out of this movie and still not know the
Yeah,
answer
to be
that.
fair,
And lastly,
Rey's dad, a Star Wars story coming soon.
yeah, why not? And lastly, is Rise of Skywalker any good?
No.
We're here to answer that question.
Yeah, we are. I did have some other like saga ending films by comparison, like what their top 4 questions were. I'm not going to read them all out, but it's all basically what like conjecture. So who is the strongest Avenger is the one for Endgame.
Right.
So it's stuff like that. It's not. I feel like those 4 questions for Rise of Skywalker painted a pretty clear picture. Yeah, at this point I normally do cast and crew, but it's Star Wars. You know who's in it. You know who's whatever. I'm not going to bother. I've got one bit of alt casting or rumored casting that didn't happen though. You may have heard that Matt Smith was rumored to be in this movie.
Yeah.
And it was heavily suggested that he'd be playing either a young emperor or a young clone.
Yeah, I remember he was supposed to
Emperor.
be like an evil person. I remember that. Oh my god.
Wasn't he at one point gonna be? There was like a villain from like the Clone Wars or something that he was gonna play like a live action version of in like the really early versions of the script. Like not even the one that got leaked. It was one like when they first cast him, he was gonna play some evil son of an evil. I don't even know what it was. It was something really ridiculous. And like,
Do we know if he shot anything, or is it just?
I'm sure I read that
I
he
don't think
did.
it's ever been like officially announced, but I'm also pretty sure that they have, and then they've just cut it because
Hasn't this happened to him twice now? Wasn't he also rumored to have a really big part in a Terminator film, and then barely
Yes.
showed up in that?
he was Skynet. He was going to be the embodiment of
What?
Skynet. Yeah, and then just wasn't in it.
Those movies, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
I
so
don't
he's
like Matt
been-
Smith.
He's great, and he's been screwed twice out of these pretty big movies.
Do you reckon Karen Gillan teases him about it?
Yeah. As Joe sort of mentioned, there was a script that got leaked. That was the script that Colin Trevorrow had pretty much completed in its entirety. Ultimately, he left the project for creative differences.
Oh, I hate when they say that.
It's so much bullshit, isn't it? Have you guys read the scripts? Do you have a vague idea of?
I've read it.
You have
I
like
haven't
a
touched it,
digital
no.
copy of it, haven't you, Sam?
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether I've just incriminated you there or whether you're allowed to have
I've
it or not,
acquired a version. Yeah, I've read it. It's not very good. It's better than this, but only in the sense that like it has an idea and it fulfills those ideas, but it's still not great. Like people would have hated this movie.
Just Kylo Ren live.
anyway.
Did he live?
I genuinely can't remember.
Then instantly
you
it's
know.
better.
I genuinely can't remember. The big thing that sticks out to me. So this is the thing that's in my brain is this isn't dialogue, but I still had to read it. There's a scene where a lot of the movies set on Coruscant, right? And they have this thing. It's in the concept art and it actually looks pretty cool. Where the people of Coruscant, so First Order have occupied it. The people of Coruscant are going to rise up against them, and what they've done to get weapons is acquired Empire gear. So it's like stormtrooper stuff, but it's kind of done up like Mad Max, that kind of thing. Like
That'd have been cool.
it's like it's visual. It's really cool, and it would have been
like
cool to see.
in The Mandalorian when there's like those scavengers
Yes.
like the ATST.
Yeah.
Like that.
There's, one of the other scripts, ideas that recently only like pretty much came to light was George Lucas's original plans for his trilogy series.
yeah.
So his 7, 8, and 9.
That's all with Darth Maul, isn't it?
Yeah. So it would have been set just a few years after Return of the Jedi, but the whole trilogy as a whole would have been set over several decades, kind of like how the prequels were. So you'd see like younger kids grow up and stuff. It would have been more focused on Leia. She was the chosen one. It wasn't Luke. So she would have been the strongest Jedi ever or whatever.
Wow.
And ruling the New Republic as the, not supreme leader, sounds too Nazi-ish, doesn't it? Whatever the leader of that would have been. It would have, Darth Maul would have been the main
The
villain in it.
Chancellor.
Probably
The
Chancellor.
Republic.
That'd be
The
what it
Chancellor,
is.
Yeah. And that's what the Emperor is in the first
Yeah.
3.
No,
Yeah,
he is the
they're in
Senate.
Chancellor. Oh, yeah.
I am the Senate. What a guy.
Yeah, Darth Maul was going to be the big bad, and he would have been uniting all of the criminal underworlds, very similar to how we got in Clone Wars. And Luke would have been training up some new Jedi who's reforming the Jedi Order, and there was a Rey type character who was going to be in it, whose name would have been. It was undecided. It was either going to be Tarin, or Thea, or Winky.
No.
Winky.
All the Brits just like,
Oh man, that sounds like our boy George Lucas, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Doesn't
That
it?
sounds like something that came from his brain.
Yeah.
Winky.
So
Winky would have teamed up with Lumpy and Itchy. That would have been that would have been their team.
But we almost got that. And a lot of the ideas in that sort of sprinkled down into Clone Wars and other stuff that we've got, kind of like that Raider, the ATST thing.
Is this the one that he claimed, or someone claimed that he told them when they bought Star Wars? Because I remember when we bought it originally, there was the whole thing that he told them all, his big plan for what he would have done how he would have done the sequels, and the whole thing was that they just ignored his plan or whatever. Is this Darth Maul thing? Is this what he told them? And they're like, fuck that, and they've just implemented it into like the Clone Wars and implemented it into him being like in Solo and stuff like that instead.
I could be making it up, but I'm sure I remember a story of like just about like creative meetings about the direction of the franchise that he was involved in, and supposedly, they literally just all ignored him, so he stopped turning up. I could be wrong about that, but like
I
seem to remember
reading a thing about how he was telling them all of his ideas for like sequels and stuff, and they were just ignoring him or something, or they just didn't take any consideration or whatever.
I don't want to sound like that guy. That's because this is how we kind of got here with Rise of Skywalker. Is like you have this sequence of someone makes a film that generally like has good points of like to be critical on, but a lot of people enjoy. Then a movie comes out that really divides people, and then you bring back the original guy that made the generally more well-received movie. Similar thing with Star Wars, where it's like George has this thing and people love it, and then there's something a bit different, and then you bring George back, and then it's like people start shitting on George more. And then now we've had all these other people. There's people that are like campaigning, make sure George directs the next trilogy, this, that, and the other. I don't want to be that guy that's like, just go put it back in George's hands because George just made plenty of errors. But you know what? As an ideas guy, like consistently throughout the entire saga that he was involved in, his ideas were solid. The execution is where things went wrong. His ideas were good. Like I think he even could. I know people like to shit on it. He even could have made the midichlorians thing work if he'd have thought about it more. Like as an idea, it's fine. Yeah. I think the strongest possible thing you could have got out of a new Star Wars, potentially, full trilogy, would have been to listen to George's ideas and then expand them into something that works more cohesively instead of being a bit dispersed like the prequels were.
Mm-hmm. That's
poor guy.
Makes some very, very good points there. So these are the two kind of alternate versions that we could have got of Episode 9. It was also heavily rumoured that once Colin Trevorrow had left, that it was Rian Johnson was going to be brought on board to do 9. And although I'm not the biggest fan of The Last Jedi, I still think I would have preferred Rian Johnson's version of Rise of Skywalker to the one we got, because it would have been carrying on his ideas. Do you guys...
I like the way he was going with The Last Jedi. I don't hate The Last Jedi. I don't love it, but that's how I feel with this whole franchise. I think parts of this franchise, like this half of it, have been really good. So like you say, as much as I'm an Adam Driver stan, I think Kylo Ren's character, really, like the way they were taking it from like The Last Jedi, they weren't going down this, Rey and me are going to have babies. Like, do you know what I mean? They were going to be like, like these clear paths. And I really wish we could have seen what would have happened if Rian Johnson would have carried it on, because I think he's the type of guy that would have turned around and gone, I don't care necessarily what the fans want. I'm giving them what they might like to see, but they don't know it yet. I think he'd have just done it, whereas I do feel sometimes like J.J. Abrams just is like, yep, do it because that made the fans happy, do it. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. A lot of this movie is box ticking.
Box ticking.
It's just like it hits, it's bizarre because it hits all the beats that it should, but in just ways that are completely meaningless. Like, a good example, the Knights of Ren. They've been teased since the first movie in the trilogy, so they have to show up in the last one. And they do. That they are in the movie, technically, but we learn nothing about them.
They do.
We don't know their names. They don't interact with anyone. Do you know what I mean? They are visually on the screen, but they don't do anything. But we've ticked the Knights of Ren box.
And that's a missed opportunity, once again, like you say. Going down that path and having all these, like, you could have had so many cool, like, people always say that as the one thing that Star Wars is slowly getting right over time is the fight sequences. Obviously, nothing's going to beat that one from Revenge of the Sith, obviously, but, like, can you imagine, like, obviously, Kylo does end up fighting the Knights of Ren, but can you imagine having these fight sequences with the Knights of Ren against these, like, I don't know, Jedi style? I think it would have been really interesting to see how that, like, they could have developed.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's more merchandise for them. It's like 6 more figures. Like,
Literally.
If we'd been able to see how good of fighters they were previously, maybe that would have been all right. Like, Snoke's guards in Last Jedi, the red dudes.
Yeah.
The ones who haven't got lightsabers, but they still fight pretty cool. And that fight scene, I think, is pretty good as well. And we immediately get the idea that these red dudes are a force to be reckoned with. The Knights of Ren, they're just stormtroopers, really. They're just stormtroopers with sticks instead of guns.
I think they're Adam Driver stands. I think that's what the problem is.
Yeah. Like, basing their outfits off them and everything.
There's this definite, like, it's weird because what this franchise has, particularly the sequel trilogy, is like nothing but like open goals that continue to get missed. If you just think about it for half a second, the Knights of Ren as an example, like, you take the established lore, Ben leaves the Jedi Order, well, Luke's new Jedi Order, and then gets trained by these guys and trained by Snoke. And you can have them all fight the way he fights, and you start to understand that it's this like completely symbiotic training. And then when you do the inevitable redemption arc, maybe he starts fighting more like Rey, but you can use them as establishing, like, here's the differences, here's, you can start to see it, like the way he stands, the way he moves, it'll change as he like switches sides. They don't do that because they don't think about what they've actually got. They've got gold and they're diving into shit.
I think that's what's the most annoying thing about Star Wars at the minute, isn't it? I don't know whether that's an in-house creatives thing or whether or not Disney and, like, Lucasfilm are scared. They don't want to upset both of the fans, and by doing that, they're staying very vanilla and upsetting the fans.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Oh, it's a weird time to be a Star Wars fan. But then again, when's it not been? Like, I'm sure your parents have said the same thing. Like, my dad growing up in 1977, nothing has ever been perfect, and I don't think you're ever going to please anyone. Like,
you're never going to please everyone, for sure.
I'm definitely interested. We're not going to get it for another like 10, 15 years, but like right now, the prequels are popular. They're popular. People like them. It's not a controversial opinion to like the prequels. There's lots of good content that kids are making about why they like them as well. They're very thoughtful about it. And for the longest time, the only content you had online was hate towards the prequels or rewriting the prequels to be good or whatever. Like, it was just nothing but negativity. And then suddenly it changed. And in another 10, 15 years, I think the same thing is going to happen with this trilogy. But I'm interested to hear the conversations that happen about it, because it's going to be wildly different than what I can see. Because all I can see is the mess that it is. But for the kids that are growing up with it now that aren't so focused on, I guess, industry drama, I think they're going to have some interesting takes on this trilogy.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing, though, isn't it? Because, like, the Phantom Menace is obviously the way out of all they've essentially, it's kind of, when you look at the series as a whole, it kind of does like a weird, like, I don't know, it's kind of like a dip. So, like, I don't know, maybe it's like that, just like one of those. So you start with Phantom Menace.
What shape was that?
One of those.
Just one of...
Like, yeah, one of them, yeah.
Also,
like,
this is an audio podcast as well, Joe. One of them.
Oh, yeah. So, like, okay, imagine like a
audio
semicircle then or something. Imagine like a circle, and then you cut it in half into the top half for those who are listening digitally. Okay, so your Phantom Menace starts at the bottom. It's terrible. It's not massively terrible, but it's not great. And then, Clone Wars is a bit better.
See, I'd say it's the other way around, personally.
It keeps getting, I mean, yeah, okay, Clone Wars isn't that great either. But then, the best one out of all three of them is obviously Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, agreed.
That's just good. That's just good shit, you know what I mean? I could just intake stuff like that. It's sick. Anyway, and then you got like 4, 5, and 6 are like the height. 7 was good compared to the 2 that followed. But then there's better ones in it. And then, in my opinion, 8 is worse than 7, and then 9 just goes back to the same level. It literally does like
a hill or a mountain.
Literally, that's what it does.
Semicircle.
One of
Like
those.
if you
For
watch
those of you
all
listening to
9
the audio
episodes,
version, Jacob flailed his arms around in a very chaotic manner.
like like if you just binge watch the entire saga, you'd start off like, oh, this is so shit, and you'd end, oh man, this is so shit. It's only in the middle that you'd be having a good time.
Could you do that now, do you reckon? Because people used to do that. People used to do Star Wars in a day, Star Wars in a weekend. Could you do that now?
We have been, so when we first moved into the flat, we watched the prequels, and then we watched all the prequels. I think we did one a night, but then ironically for some reason we just forgot, we just didn't have time to do the main trilogy. And then I sat down to watch Rise of Skywalker with Dylan, and I swear to God, I was like, oh my God, he's not even seen the originals. So like, I think you can do it, because from what we were doing, it was going really well doing one a night. And it's interesting. It's really interesting watching them bang out like one after another. So
yeah, I mean,
I think it's worth doing.
Do you know what though? Jumping on that, that's what we did. Like during lockdown, we watched the prequels night after night after night, and then stopped. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what's going on. It's weird. Like just before it like gets pretty consistently good. No more of this. Thanks. I've had enough Star Wars.
I think it's because we've all seen the original trilogy so much.
Yeah, probably.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I think, I have points, I'm sure you guys do, where you go, oh God, yeah, this is in that film. But like, I don't know, I feel like I need to give the original Star Wars films some time before I go back to it to really enjoy it. Because I think it's because, especially as like film people and obviously having social media, it's rammed down our throats constantly, this like Star Wars love. And so I think that's why we're all like, give it some
I agree with that.
I mean, I did the thing when Disney Plus came out. Did the thing watching it every night, and I was doing pretty well. So I got to episode 8, and I had to turn it off halfway through because I couldn't stand it. And I just didn't watch. To be fair, that's like the second to last one. I just didn't watch 9 after that. So, but
can't blame you.
Yeah, you did better than us.
But then, including that though, I also watched Rogue One and Solo in between them.
Yeah.
So
we did that.
The full Star Wars until I got to the bad ones at the end.
Yeah, so technically we got up to Solo then.
Fair enough.
Oh man, Rogue One.
I haven't attempted it in a while, but I'd like to see if I could do it. It is long, isn't it?
It's just watching The Phantom Menace. You have to just get through that. It's a rocky start.
I also feel like we forget how long these films. I genuinely thought the original trilogy films were about an hour and a half. Every single Star Wars film is 2 hours. What the fuck?
God, imagine just sitting down for a day, watching them all, one after the other. What a day that would be.
Have my sanity.
Like, oh, Jesus.
But anyway, it's getting dark, Jacob.
It is. You can tell, can't you? So then I've got written down just a quick plot run through, but I think more so that when we hit like a bump, we can all laugh at it and go, "Why? That's stupid." But before I get into that, I've got plot keywords from IMDb. So people will write their own plot for some reason. It picks out the keywords.
Oh, okay.
So we have evil, Disney Star Wars,
right?
Villain not really dead cliche. Return of Dead. And actually, that's Return of Dead character. It's gone on to another line. I missed that. So it's Return of Dead character and Puffy Cheeks.
Puffy Cheeks?
Puffy Cheeks. And I have no idea
He's
why.
Got puffy cheeks.
I'm racking my brain. Is that Babu Frick?
Oh, yeah.
Has he got puffy cheeks?
I don't think so. Is it Palpatine's prosthetics, maybe?
Oh, that's going to annoy me.
I don't know.
Puffy cheeks.
It is a link. So if you want to go to IMDb and click on why puffy cheeks is a keyword, you can go and do that. But anyway, let's we get that crawl.
The dead speak.
Oh, God, what was everyone's reaction to that when it came up? I presume you all went to the cinema to see this, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
When did you go? Did you go for midnight releases or just?
I think we did the afternoon after, like the day out, like so day of release, but in the afternoon because we couldn't bother for the midnight release at that point. We'd done it for the others.
We went either like the day before. No, not the day before. Obviously not. The day after or the day after that. I don't think we went like with the same urgency that we did when it was like episode 7.
I think that was for
kind
everyone.
of like,
Yeah,
it was
I think I did like a week later, and then so I'd sort of heard stuff, but I was still within the hype phase. The cinema was packed, sort of thing, and I remember. I can tell you a little bit about how my cinema changed over the course of this film, right? Because it started with most of the people, they really wanted to like it. They really wanted to like it. And look, I wanted to like it. I didn't go in bitter or, cynical. Those 3 words, man, I laughed out loud. I definitely pissed some people off in the cinema. I could not.
I will never forget the conversations we had really quickly. Literally the week or whatever after it was released in work, just absolutely howling at the dead speak. And like I didn't notice it, and you told me in work, and I was like, holy shit, yeah. Like, yeah, we had some good giggles.
Yeah, I mean, I went to a midnight release. Foolish. I've probably told this story before. That I'd met up with my family for Christmas in a nice little quaint cottage somewhere off in the Lake District, and I realised that we were going to be there for the release of Star Wars. I was like, I really want to see it at midnight. We're going to have to do it. So I found the closest cinema that was showing it, which was like an hour drive away. Convinced my dad to drive me and my brother to go to the midnight release to go and watch it. An hour drive. And it was all these people dressed up like Jedi and stuff. It was like, all right, yeah, it's going to be good. Let's get it. It's Star Wars.
But that's the good thing about seeing it at a midnight release. I'm sure you guys will agree with me. Is everyone's so excited, like you said, Sam. Like everyone wants to like the movie, and I think that is the best part. And I feel like that's what cinema is really lacking at the minute. Is that it's an experience, and like you said, Jacob, that would have instantly got you in the mood.
It did. And then I don't think there's anything more sad than coming out of a cinema and seeing people dressed as Jedi and Star Wars characters looking sad. They were like,
oh no,
heads down.
And I feel like we just had a cinema full of disappointed people.
I'll tell you what, this just reminded me when I went to see Force Awakens. So I did Force Awakens at midnight. We all did Force Awakens at midnight, and I like a week before was at peak excitement for this film. And hang on, I got with me. I took this Kylo Ren like replica lightsaber, right? I was so excited. I'm gonna take the fucking lightsaber on the journey. 'Cause there's no way to store this. You can't compress it down. So like on the journey, I got it on the bus. People are like sort of pointing at it. Some people want to fucking have a go on it. There's people in the streets flying around the lightsaber. It's good fun, right? Get to the cinema. Exactly the same thing. Everyone's super hyped to see this new Star Wars. I brought the fucking saber through. The staff are like, we don't know if we're allowed to let you through with that, but we don't want to stop you. So going into the lobby, handing it over, people are swinging it around. It's good time, right? And then that scene happens near the end where Kylo Ren stabs Han Solo with this blade. And I was like holding it at the time, just like by my seat. And I was like, oh my God, I'm holding a murder weapon. It dawned on me. And then on the way out of the cinema, I can't say anyone was really excited to play with my lightsaber anymore. It was it's funny how that happened.
That's fantastic. Eventually the words fuck off and we get some actual film. And the opening to this almost immediately didn't feel like a Star Wars film because it was...
Yeah, right?
It felt like an Adam Driver Stan account. That's what it felt like.
It was Kylo just chopping down guys in a forest.
This could have been one of the most interesting parts of the fucking film.
Chef's
He's
kiss.
on fucking Mustafar, and it doesn't look like it. He could have...
That's Mustafar.
He's on Mustafar, yeah. Because there's the whole thing about how in that VR game they did, you unlock some ancient spirit or whatever the fuck of Mustafar, and it starts to... Like, what the story of it is that Darth Vader's trying to release his spirit to get Padme back or some shit.
Oh, I remember this.
And he frees this other spirit.
Oh my God, yeah.
Through it, Mustafar starts growing plants again, which is why in Rise of Skywalker there's like trees and stuff there. But yeah, that's Mustafar.
Why?
But like, it could have been so interesting because he could have gone to like Darth Vader's castle.
Yeah,
and it could have it could have been so good.
Hey, I tell you what, like I think
like
missed opportunities is going to be the catchphrase of this show because
100%.
That's huge. Like, it's such an obvious thing. You take Kylo Ren to Darth Vader's castle. Obviously, you do. Like, it goes beyond fan service because you can have a meaningful character moment in it. But JJ's been doing this from the start. I remember hearing that they shot a scene. In fact, it might even have been in the deleted scenes for Force Awakens, where after the Falcon lands on Starkiller, Kylo Ren walks into the Falcon.
I've seen it. Yeah, it wasn't the DVD extras.
Even just describing it, what a fucking amazing, just to see that guy, after everything he's done, to walk around that ship on his own and just like soak it in. That's great fucking shit. Why are you cutting stuff like that? I don't get it.
So weird.
I'm not sure if I've forgotten about it, but almost all the other Star Wars films open on like it pans and there's a ship or a shuttle or something.
Yeah.
This film didn't have that, did it? It cut.
It went straight to a dark sky, and then it went just to a planet, didn't it? To Mustafar. I swear that's all you see is just the red planet, and then like the tiniest little ship.
Yeah. Okay. Well, not a great start. And he finds this little pyramid that I thought, that's going to be a holocron, cheeky little tie into the animated series.
Same.
No, it's something new entirely.
Wayfinder?
Yeah, a wayfinder.
Why could it not have been a holocron though? The whole point of holocrons is it stars data.
Yeah. Yeah. It could have been, and it just wasn't.
Oh my god, he could have learned some like sick Sith stuff at the same time as well.
Yeah.
And if powers or whatever, but no.
If the argument is the general audience doesn't know what a holocron is, the general audience doesn't know what a fucking wayfinder is either. Like, teach them. This is it's in the universe. Gold, river of shit. How do you keep doing it?
But that's what Star Wars do, unless you've played the VR game, played Fortnite, listened to the bought the new and updated encyclopedia, and then got a Disneyland offer, which you could only get on the first Thursday of the month. You won't know what the fuck's going on, and I think that's a very, very bad part in storytelling, is making sure that everyone knows what they know, and not, you didn't play that game? Sucks to be you. I think that's
totally agree.
So, not on.
I mean, you can draw some comparisons, maybe, between this and Endgame, right? Both came out the same year, both were, big saga finishing movies, both required you to have seen previous media, at least media, before watching it. And yet Endgame just did it so much better. Yeah, if you went in and you hadn't seen Doctor Strange, you wouldn't know who he was, but you wouldn't really need to. You're like, oh yeah, okay, this is just a guy who's got cool magic powers and stuff. But with this, there was so much stuff where it was like, well, what? And that wasn't just for general audiences either. I feel even a lot of Star Wars fans going in would be like, well, this... what?
Yeah.
Oh, why?
I think that the big difference is the Russos knew what they had. They understood the value of what they had. I think JJ, he remembers iconography, but he doesn't remember why he remembers it. He doesn't remember, he doesn't understand why it matters. A really big thing that stands out to me is the mishandling of the shark teeth Ray scene.
Okay, yeah.
Because in Empire, it's a really famous scene. Luke confronts himself in Darth Vader armor, and he looks at the broken helmet and sees his own face, and it's a reflection. It's saying to him, look, if you are not careful, if you don't heed Yoda's words, this is going to be you. You're going to perpetuate the cycle that your father started. You don't even know he's your father yet, but you're going to keep doing it. Someone is going to fill those shoes all the time, and it's meaningful, and it changes the way Luke interacts with the entire story. In this, she's got these really big, scary teeth, and her lightsaber goes flip-de-doo, and then she gets kicked. She gets kicked out of the room, and I guess Rey doesn't have fucking object permanence, because as soon as she sees Kylo Ren, the scene's over, and she forgets it ever happened, and it changes nothing about her.
Yeah, I'd forget my surroundings if
Ben
ticking. Solo was in front of me, but yeah, this is not allowed.
Yeah, the next thing he does once he finds that pyramid is he eventually makes his way over to Palpy. Good old Palpy's back. He's not dead.
Good job none of us are good job none of us were what's called epileptic. Watching this back in the dark. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I liked the aesthetic of the planet, I think. The
Same.
fingernails on chalkboard sounding lightning, and the spooky big floaty building or whatever. Then you get pickled Snokes.
Pickled Snokes!
Have you made pickled Snokes yet?
Not yet. When I do that party, I'll have some
As soon
pickled
as that
Snokes.
party happens. Damn lockdown. So, the Emperor's back. How do we... How anyone care to justify it? Or no, fuck you, Star Wars. You're not getting my justification.
See the thing with Ian McDermott saying that he didn't actually get the call to come play the Emperor until like January of 2019. So like the Emperor wasn't even in it. There was that whole thing. Like Kathleen Kennedy was like, yeah, we always planned for the Emperor to be in it. They only filmed these scenes like not even a year before it came out. They didn't plan for him to be in it.
No.
There is no way. Like, oh my god, it's so just messy and
I think that's why the character, like, you know, when you see like all these interview footage and that one that we were watching that you sent us, Jake, where all the cast is so fed up, it's because they've had to put up with this shit. Like the reshoots, the changing of that, like Kelly Marie Tran, her character being like, yeah, no,
right.
Like, and even Finn to a point. I don't blame John Boyega for hating this series.
Yeah.
They basically said, you're going to be a Jedi, mate. You're going to be a Jedi with Rey, and it's all going to. He literally is just there. That's it.
Yeah.
They
just fucked
there.
John Boyega so badly. Like, he's so good. They gave him one line in this movie, basically, and it's Rey. That's it. That's all he says over and over and over again. And then, like you say, Kelly Marie Tran, Rose he's there sometimes to sometimes say, I don't know, stuff.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. There's that really frustrating bit towards the end of the movie where Finn, he makes his daring stand against the fucking Star Destroyer, and he's with just another girl that they've just introduced, who's just him from The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
And she gets the scene and the dialogue that Rose should have had.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. I mean, ultimately, they're back on whatever planet they're on with all of this Resistance crew that have come from
out
somewhere.
Of nowhere.
Yeah, ending the movie
They're all in, like, I'm a celebrity get-up. That's what they're dressed like.
Basically. The fact that Last Jedi ended with the Falcon, a Falcon's full of people, and that was it. That was your resistance to, oh, no, we got ships, and we got a base, and we're fine. We're fine now. And there's a message. There's a message that's been recovered from a spy. Somehow, Palpatine returned. Somehow.
Yeah, they don't even explain that, do they?
They say they have Pippin from Lord of the Rings. They have him say something about cloning, dark magic, secrets only the Sith knew. That's our explanation.
Yeah, but
see, I completely missed that.
The Sith weren't the only ones who knew how to clone. The Clone Wars.
The Clone Wars.
Attack of the Clones. That was.
The Jedi's were literally there for that.
Like, I am genuinely so sick and tired of the old argument, oh, Rian Johnson just doesn't get Star Wars. Yeah, well, do you know what? I think he's actually fucking seen it. Like, come on. Here's a question for you, right? None of us can definitively answer this, but just from gut feeling alone, when do you think JJ watched The Last Jedi? Do you think he watched it when it came out for leisure, or do you think he watched it when he was told he was working on this?
I think he was when he told. I genuinely think he didn't care.
That's the feeling I get as well. Yeah.
And because I genuinely think he saw it and was like, fuck that, that wasn't what I was going to do. I'm going to do what I want to do. Fuck you, Rian Johnson. Because then Rian Johnson goes and makes films like Knives Out. So he's a good director. He makes good films. And this is Last Jedi's not a bad film. It's just... I don't know, it just doesn't feel like a Star Wars movie in points, but that doesn't mean I won't, watch it and goggle at Ben Swallow. That's just the thing,
That's the only reason you watch it, though, isn't it?
Yeah, let's be honest.
Just watch YouTube clips, come on.
Best thing to come out of it.
I mean, yeah, and then they're like, all right, well, we need to stop him. So the crew set off, so you got all your favourites. You've got Rey and Chewbacca and Finn and Poe and BB-8 and C-3PO, everyone's favourites, and Rose. Oh no, wait, Rose doesn't go because she has to stay behind because everyone hates her inexplicably.
Mm-hmm.
No, I've got to look at Star Destroyers.
Do you know what? One of the things that like irks me. This is like it's a minor thing, but it's like it's the start of like the larger critique I have about the film. So when our heroes go on the big last adventure, they're doing it because it's the big last adventure movie, and they all have to go on a big last adventure. And they go, "We're coming with you, Rey," and they're all big friendship. They don't fucking interact in this trilogy. Like, at all. They're forcibly split up for the majority of Force Awakens. It's only Rey and Finn that are actually mates. And then in Last Jedi, they choose to split up because the situation's so dire. They haven't gone on a single adventure to justify going on this last one. What do you mean you're all sticking together?
Yeah, I don't remember, like, Rey and Poe having more than, like, 5 minutes of on-screen time together before.
Right?
Yeah. The fact that they meet for the first time at the end of The Last Jedi. And
and instantly in the first like opening bit, like you say, he's there going, "What have you done to beam me up with?" It's like there's this kind of comically like, "Oh, they're good mates."
What bugged me about that is, right, Poe is supposed to be great mates with BB-8. He like gives him belly rubs and stuff.
Yeah.
And then when he comes back in the Falcon, Rey says, "What have you done to the Falcon?" And Poe replies, "What have you done to the droid?" He just says, "The droid." What? That's like a dad's coming home and their kid has a broken arm, and they go, "What have you done to the child?"
Boy
has broken arm. What have you done to boy? Right? So that's
so bad.
But they set off and they go to that big festival planet, which might as well have been Tatooine, but wasn't.
Yeah.
It's another sand planet. And apparently all the kids of whatever native species they are really care about last names and family names. Rey, what's your family name? I got to know.
It'd be my honor.
Oh, at some point we get the Knights of Ren are like, "Oh yeah, we're here too." They show up on the planet.
On a rock.
I mean, the back of their head shows up in a lot of scenes.
Yeah, they stand as the camera just like spins round them.
I hate it.
They just had a helicopter just on hand. They're like, right, just fucking get him to stand on a rock or something. It's fine.
Yeah.
Do you know
Do
what's
some loops.
like shocking about this film to me is that The Force Awakens, filmically, like its problems are in the writing. Filmically, it's really good. Like the way the shots are put together. The lighting in particular, the way they merged all the CGI with the live action stuff in such a seamless way to create these like beautiful, memorable, like new planets and new experiences, and it really feels like an authentic Star Wars journey. Same fucking guy. Where's that gone?
My guy doesn't care anymore. That's what it feels like.
There's another shot later on that was really odd. It's when they're on one of the Endor moons when the Death Star's crashed. And there's a shot that feels like it's from like a 50s TV show where the Falcon's crashed in the foreground and everyone else is kind of walking off. And the camera just starts zooming in and then just keeps like zooming and zooming and zooming. And it's like,
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
What? Where did that come from? It was like, that doesn't happen in Star Wars. Like if Star Wars had been made like the originals 20 years earlier and they used loads of those techniques, sure, yeah, there's a bit of, well, hey, look at this, isn't this neat? Do that, but it would what? I don't know. That was just another point where it just completely took me out of it. At some point, Kylo gets his helmet fixed to undo what Rian Johnson did to it.
Again, like you could have done anything. If you really must have him have a helmet, you could have made him. You could like chance to refresh, do something else cool, so you can sell a brand new, all new Kylo Ren toy, not just one with fucking red paint apps.
Imagine if he'd got I'm not going to call it a Wayfinder. It's called a holocron now. Imagine if you got that from Vader's castle and then like a Vader prototype helmet or something along with it.
Yeah,
cool.
something to change.
And he'd gone with that. But no, they made a special effort to undo what Rian Johnson did.
A better storyline than a whole Star Wars creative team that get paid to do it. It blows my mind.
Like we've kind of skipped over it in the plot segment, right? But and I don't tremendously want to dwell on it too long because it's really grim. But Leia in this movie, lots of scenes of her at the start, and I find it really morbid. Like they said, "Oh, we're not going to CGI her." Do you know what? Right, when they did it for Peter Cushing in Rogue One, it's a bit odd, right? But sort of feels like you've digitally created this model, you've got an impersonator in. It feels like when they do it like in a video game, I don't feel like weird about that. You know what I mean? With this, because they've used old footage and old
Soundboard
lines.
Leia.
And she's only just passed away.
It's literally soundboard Leia. She's only just gone. And you're having to write characters to have lines that sort of feed into what she's saying. It really feels like you're puppeteering her corpse. That's what it feels like. It's fucking grim.
And then to
right?
really linger on her dead body with the white sheet in parts towards the end.
Right?
Well,
I'm not
horrid.
emotional here. I'm just a bit weirded out.
while we're on the topic, I was going to touch it in the end when we retouching on Leia, but she died like a year before Last Jedi came out, and then one of the opening scenes in that is her seemingly dying.
Yeah.
And then because that film was already finished, they already knew what was going to happen. So then in this, they had to kill her off, I guess. But it wasn't done in the same way as Han Solo and Luke, where they actually got like an ending because they were alive for it. How did we feel? I'm guessing, as we kind of said, like her death was just a bit ham-fisted,
Well, see,
I suppose.
This is the thing, and I don't want to speak on behalf of too many other people because, especially like, for example, like Billie Lourd was literally on set. I don't know if she was coerced into allowing that to happen or if she genuinely was okay with that happening, right? Like, and I don't feel like it's right to speculate. But in terms of writing a story, you know, you're dealt a bad hand when your one of your lead actors dies. You're dealt a bad hand, right? But work with what you've got. Don't go to this extra effort. I know this isn't ideal, right? But this would be my pitch. You kill her off between movies. You have it in the opening crawl, right? I know it's not ideal. I know but it's Princess Leia. Don't you want to give her a send off? We'll see how you feel about this, right? You kill her off between movies. Maybe it's as a result, like when you consider Last Jedi and Force Awakens take place between like 20 minutes of each other or something. She's just lost her partner. She's just lost her brother. And maybe the stress of it all just gets to her. Maybe it's old age. Maybe it's everything going on. She's lost a partner or a brother. Her son feels irredeemable. She goes between movies, right? Your opening scenes are parallel to one another. So it's Rey with the Resistance mourning Leia. Someone she doesn't know. She's not related to her. She hasn't really had any scenes with her, but she's here. And Leia's son is somewhere else across the galaxy. He's felt it happen, but he wasn't there for it. Her death was supposed to be part of his journey, but he's not there for it. How does he handle it? He gets angry, gets his lightsaber out, he starts smashing up consoles like he does. Then his anger, he stops. In his eyes, they start to water slightly. The chance to kill his mother has been taken from him because he's just lost his mother. And how does that affect him? And
I feel
he's
like that
not
would be
there.
so much more emotional as well.
It's got depth and it establishes like where our two characters are, like opposite towards one another, and you can start to build how those things impact on each other throughout the course of the story. That's the thing that I would have pitched, not fucking making a marionette out of a corpse. It's grim. I don't like it.
They had time to plan around it. Like, Last Jedi, there wasn't a lot they could do. It was just a bit awkward when she got blown up into space.
It's not a good scene.
It's just awkward.
Yeah.
But you had
Superman in a
years.
Don't.
They had years to plan around it for this one, and they just didn't. Like, I'm pretty sure Marvel have already said how Chadwick Boseman obviously can't come back for Black Panther 2. They've already said we're not doing a CGI Chadwick. He's not going to be in it.
Good.
They're gonna work around it.
Just have a nod to him. Acknowledge the fact that he's like a
Do you know what?
person's gone, but don't, like you say, recreate them. It's
Yeah.
weird.
It's one of
so
these where
weird.
I know like within fictional stories, we're used to it. And it's good storytelling when a character's death has like payoff and it's meaningful and you've planned for it since the start. But in the real world, people are taken from us often suddenly and quickly, and it's really hard to like come to terms with that and properly grieve, especially when they're gone just suddenly one day. And while that's not generally considered good storytelling, if you make your story about that, then it can work. We didn't have the time to mourn because they just weren't there one day, and maybe that's a good story.
I think that's very true.
You make that immediately sounds better than what we got. But yeah, so our gang are on this festival planet, and they get found out because Rey and Kylo have one of those cheeky across the galaxy chats where he can snatch a necklace off her.
I did actually quite like how they can physically interact through that force stuff. That was a nice evolution of the ideas.
Yeah. The way they then use it to their advantage right at the end with the lightsaber.
That was cool.
I quite like that. But yeah, ultimately they get chased for a bit by some stormtroopers that can fly now.
They fly out.
Speeder bikes that don't. Like they've just put a track and it's a seesaw.
I kind of
on
like
wheels.
the flipper.
But what? Why would they? Oh, we've got these speeder bikes, but how about right? They're great because they fly, so you can go over rough terrain and sand and things. Put them on the ground and give them like a tank tread, so that you have to drive them across the ground, and then make yourself vulnerable to having a rope thrown in them. And yeah, all that was
of John Boyega talking about that is such gold. They've been doing it since the Clone Wars.
Yeah,
gritted teeth. My guy, I love him.
And ultimately, after the chase, they fall into some beans and start sinking through the beans.
Yeah.
Where they end up in like this snake tunnel, and they find actually, while they're sinking in the beans, Finn yells, "Rey, I never told you."
It's dumb, isn't it? It's really dumb.
Nothing beyond that.
You know
They
what
don't tell you.
You know what it'd be like? It'd be like telling someone, "Oh, I've got this big secret to tell you," and then like 5 days later, you say, "Oh, yeah, I've got new shoes. That's my secret. It's about my new shoes." It'd be like that, wouldn't it, Jacob?
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about. That's not a reference to anything that's happened in my life. Loads of people speculate that Finn is force sensitive. That's kind of what they were kind of suggesting. Which I highly recommend you watch the new Star Wars Holiday Special.
I was just about to say this.
The Lego one. It's a lot of fun.
Confirms it.
But basically Rey is training Finn to be a Jedi.
It's like a sequel
cool.
to the sequels, isn't it? It's like trying to suggest what happens after.
I'm not sure how canonical it is. I don't think it can be. I won't say much more than that because we've all watched the Holiday Special, and I recommend you watch it. It's only like 47 minutes.
40 minutes, yeah.
So yeah, go check it out because there's some gold. There's some absolute gold.
It's not too bad. There are bits that are a bit cringe, but it's a kids thing by Lego.
Yeah,
it is funny.
It's very much a kids thing, isn't it? But yeah, so they find this knife which has the ancient language of the Sith on it that C-3PO can translate but isn't allowed to say out loud because it's a forbidden language.
Can you write it down? Why didn't they think about that?
No pens in the Star Wars universe.
Shit.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen anyone write anything down?
No one's had a biro at all.
A biro. That's the problem. Oh, write it down, 3PO. We haven't got any biros, so I can't. And then they bump into this big snake, and rather than killing it like they do in every other Star Wars film, an alien monster, kill it. Rey force heals it, and it goes, "Oh, thank you. Here's a way out." When this movie came out, the same week, I'm pretty sure that week, the episode of The Mandalorian where Baby Yoda heals what's his face?
Heals him, doesn't
Apollo Creed. What's his name?
Is it not him? I thought he heals him.
No, he doesn't heal the Mandalorian. He heals Carl. Oh, it's
Carl Weathers, isn't it him?
That's his name.
Yeah, but I'm sure the episode, like the very first time he does it, is in like one of the earlier episodes where he heals him, and that's the episode that was out or something. So I remember seeing it and being like, "Oh man, I'm annoyed about this," but I was like, "Oh wait, no, the Mandalorian does it, so I'm not annoyed about it anymore."
Well, either way, I'm not sure which episode it was, but it happens in the Mandalorian. But I had a very similar reaction to you, Joe. When I saw this, I was like, "Well, that I don't know how I feel about that." How do you guys feel about it?
it's only dumb because of the way it's introduced, I think. Because it's specifically tied into plot. You know, it's like, you know, when you're watching shows like Power Rangers or Pokemon when you're young, and they'll introduce some like specific MacGuffin at the start of an episode, and it's because at the end of that episode it's going to be important, and then it goes away. Yeah. You know, that's what it felt like. It's too tied into the specific events of this movie that I think it comes across a bit wrong. I really enjoyed, though, at the time, I really enjoyed all the memes of, like, you know, Force Ghost Anakin, like, fucking what?
yeah, fair enough.
I literally had Dylan sat next to me who, like, say, doesn't really know much about Star Wars. And he literally went, have they been able to do that from the start? And I was like, apparently. Like,
yeah.
I like to say, the way they introduced it was a bit, like... Yeah.
The healing bit, I think, makes some sense. Yeah, this one's got even like a fatal wound. Give him a big ol' heal. But when they do it at the end to fully resurrect Rey from when she dies, or at least is very close to death, so much so that it kills Kylo, spoilers, I feel like that's too much of a stretch to do that, because
I agree.
It suggests that they could always bring people back from the dead with no training. You just have to think about it. You have to wish it hard enough.
Something else that pissed me off about that bit, but we'll get to it when we talk about it. I'll wait.
Was it just that he faded and you couldn't see him anymore? Was that
what
it was?
Partly.
Like, I can't see his face. It's gone.
I am not that shallow. I totally am.
But yeah, ultimately they take the ship of the. They don't take the Falcon. They take a different one. It turns out that was the ship that Rey kept remembering. It's not really that big of a deal, even though they really try and make it a big deal. It doesn't matter.
The flashback, because it's that bounty hunter's ship. And the mum goes, she's not on Jakku. And he goes, all right, fair enough. What?
So yeah, before they do, Chewie dies. Chewie gets blown up by Rey doing Force lightning. Oh no, he doesn't.
Did any of you believe
he's
that in the cinema? I didn't.
I was sat there going, if he is, that's not a good way of doing it.
Exactly how we were.
And then the fact that they suggest, oh no, there was just a second ship. It was a different ship. And
so
Finn,
comical, isn't it?
Finn didn't go, Rey, they've got Chewie, and she looks at the ship and he doesn't go, no, the ship's gone. It's not that one. Leave it.
Isn't he?
We gotta
He's
go.
Pointing like that one there. Chewie's on that one.
How did he not see that either there was another one that hadn't gone yet, or there was another one that doesn't matter. It's bad. It's bad.
The two times they pull this with Chewie and C-3PO, I didn't buy it, because with Chewie, you're right, it would have been a terrible way to do it, and frankly, they don't have the balls. And with C-3PO, they tell a joke before it, and I was like, okay, well, I've got nothing to worry about then.
Oh yeah, because just before he does like the thing, he goes, I've just had another idea, and he's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's remembered about his stash of Papermate pens, and he's gonna start writing it out.
Yep. So yeah, basically they end up going up to the... Did they go to the Star Destroyer at this point? No, they go to the other planet, don't they? The snowy one that isn't Hoth.
Yeah.
But it's... Yeah. And they find Poe's ex-girlfriend. And we learn that Poe used to be a spice smuggler.
Hate that.
Big fucking deal. Like...
Wow, he's Han Solo now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when Finn was saying, how do you know how to like hotwire a speeder? I disapprove strongly of this. Why? He stole a TIE fighter in Force Awakens to help you escape, and you're ashamed that he can hotwire things? Whatever.
Do you know what extra burns about that? So I remember when I was stupid and young, and Force Awakens was coming out, and I was like, fucking yeah, I'm gonna... Because at the time, Marvel had just got a brand new deal to do Star Wars comics. And they were all going to be canon, because all the old canon's gone. And they did a book, which was specifically a prelude to The Force Awakens, right? It's 4 issues, and throughout the course of it, you follow the stories of Poe's parents, who help Luke and stuff out in the final days of the Empire, right? And one of the quests they go on is they gather this tree, and this tree, like, it's like a force tree, and it emits midichlorians, and it's like the last one in the galaxy, right? And the Emperor's got it, and it's dying. And Luke takes 2 branches off of it. One for him to use in his little Jedi school, and the other he bestows to Poe's parents. And they grow it in their garden, which means he was growing up around this tree that grants people Force sensitivity. And I thought, that's going to pay off. Surely that's going to pay. No, he's just a criminal. He's just a criminal.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So, yep, that's kind of shit. They go to the bar where that little shitty Muppet hacks 3PO, and John Williams is chilling in the bar. if you didn't know that, John Williams was just cleaning some cups, going, "Ah, dear," shaking his head at the main characters as they walked past. But the most, as well as having the knife now translated, they know where to go. We also learned that Zori has this, so that's Poe's ex, has that little First Order's officer's medallion medal thing. That means that any ship can get onto any Star Destroyer, no questions asked. That's what they use.
It's not a real military thing. Like, if you just have a general's badge, they just let you
in.
Entire of the, like,
Even if
let
you're
you
in
into
the
the White
dinged up
House.
ship.
Yeah, which
Like,
they
you're
are.
just a dude wearing like a "The Truth Is Out There" t-shirt, rocks up to Area 51. But it's fine because he's got a general's badge.
Yeah.
It doesn't match the name on it doesn't match his ID, but it's okay because he's got a general's badge. They have to let him in.
So
It's just the rules.
the idea of that as a whole is, in universe, it's a stupid idea. Why would the First Order have these? And as a storytelling device, it's lazy and crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Like,
does feel lazy.
Any Star Wars film, they've been getting themselves onto enemy ships all the time. All the time. You either just fly in, or you smuggle yourself on, or you sneak off your ship once it's been taken in by a tractor beam or something. No, we're just gonna fly right up with this little gold circle. Also, don't they put it into, like, the controls of the ship? There's just, where does this go? Oh,
Pretty sure,
convenient, convenient little
It's a perfectly
hole. There we go.
sized
That's
hole,
where that
yeah.
goes.
So which implies that it's like a digital thing. It's a good job there wasn't like a, not a virus.exe on there or something. Like,
Yeah, then they'd be screwed. But yes, they make it onto the ship, and they find out that, Chewie's alive and on board. And Rey says, we need that dagger back. How do you know? It's just a feeling. Wait, so 3PO said that you need the blade. So, alright. And it's debatable that maybe you're suggesting that you have a feeling that the dagger is on the ship. Did Chewie just put it in his bag and go without telling anyone that he had it?
yeah. Yeah, you
They
see him do it in the
literally-
cave.
Oh,
Yeah.
Picks up and
so
goes, yep,
annoying.
maybe we'll
It's
need
so
that later. He
obvious.
doesn't say, hey guys, maybe we should take this. This is probably a clue, right?
It's like a nice big close-up of him just going, whoop. And I was like,
I've got the dagger. So that's kind of stupid. Rey goes to get the dagger while the others just kind of run around for a bit and get Hux shot. Because he was the spy. He doesn't care as the First Order. He just wants...
I don't care if you win as long as Kylo Ren loses.
I honestly every time he wasn't like on screen, I completely forgot that he was in this movie. And then he would reappear and I'd be like, oh yeah, him.
Yeah, him.
And the
He
fact that
suddenly
they
like,
kill him off just to replace him with, it's Hux again, but meaner.
But like the really weird thing is, in The Last Jedi, he's the fucking second in command. What happened? When did someone else overtake him? And I don't understand. How does that work?
again,
Yeah.
why
Does he
didn't
get
they show
demoted?
it? Why didn't we see this scene,
Like-
like you said, of him and Kylo Ren being an absolute arsehole, and then that him having this moment of, well, fuck you, I'm going to start leaking stuff to the Resistance. Why didn't they not have that?
Yeah.
Because they wanted
just-
this horrible reveal.
The one bit
Like,
I
as
did
soon
like...
as it like
Go on, Joe.
as soon as it was leading up to the reveal of who the leak was, I to be fair, at this point, I completely forgot that there even was a leak to begin with.
Yeah.
It was just, I was like, oh shit, yeah, that thing from the beginning. And then it was like, oh right, okay, well it's going to be Hawks, obviously. And then it was, and I was like, right, great. He's probably going to die. And then he dies, and I'm like, great.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
His death...
Big
I
him-
just
Right.
remembered.
Oh, go
Shit,
on.
I've just remembered that fucking slug that's escaped from fucking Monsters University. The fucking digital
Lord.
file has flown into this
the
Star Wars
engineer
film.
with no arms? That one?
Yeah. Oh, how's
scene of them
that
fuck
thing
off.
you've got to fix? Claude come in and goes, and just looks at it like fry and explode a bit more. How is he going to fix
Literally.
anything? Anyway.
Just as you were describing the spy stuff, it just popped back into my head. Where's my fucking Hot Toys Claude the Slug?
The death of Hux, I think him getting shot and just like getting launched several feet across the control room.
So comedic.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Those blasters never have that much impact until you're stood still with a little walking stick and you get shot out of surprise. Yeah, but anyway. The way his hair just went woof forward as he flew back.
I'm genuinely surprised they didn't have the Wilhelm scream over it.
Oh! Yeah, right. Instant 10 out of 10 if they'd done that. No, I wouldn't. What happens? They make their way to that water planet where the Death Star is, and we get that bullshit with the knife. So you stand
Or the Goonies thing.
anywhere around the Death Star, no defined point where you stand, and you kind of hold up the knife, and the edges of the knife match up with some debris, and then there's this little
yeah.
bit that you pull out, and it points to the throne room.
How long has it been
this-
since they made that knife? The
Yeah,
White Cliffs
it
of
kind of-
Dover erode every day. And you've got the Death Star completely perfect.
Yeah,
Like, it's in water as well. It's being, like, constantly hit by
Yeah.
water.
Yeah.
It's
It's dumb. I wouldn't have minded it as much because it's a circle. She pulls the bit out and it goes whoop. If it at least lined up with like the cannon or something, do you know what I mean? So you could be like, right, I've got to line it up with this, and it's the big circle, and like, okay, at that point the throne room is roughly underneath that bit in the circle, maybe something like that. It would have still been fucking dumb, but the fact that it just points to nothing.
yeah. Also, like, it could have been a key, just like an actual old-fashioned turn the lock key. That would have been neat. Or it could have just said, "Go to his throne room." No one can read it. No one can translate
Yeah, like
it.
a riddle about a throne room, yeah.
Yeah. Ray goes in, even though they say, no, don't go. Look, the water's too dangerous. You can't do it. She does it, because of course she does. And then Finn and not Rose do it, like, seconds later. So clearly the water really wasn't that
okay.
dangerous, was it? And she finds the second Wayfinder, along with the creepy shark-toothed her.
Yeah.
Get me real Bilbo Baggins vibes, you know, where he's like, give me the ring, and she's that.
Yeah.
Kylo rocks up, inexplicably.
Stalker boyfriend turns up.
He's just there, and he destroys the Wayfinder, not a holocron. It's not. Why would it be a holocron? And then they fight for a bit. And while they're fighting, Finn shouts one of his few lines in the film. And Leia dies trying to tell Kylo, stop fighting. She just
Play nicely.
dies, and Rey stabs him and goes, oh shit, Leia's dead. I'm just gonna heal you up. Just pretend like that didn't happen. Sorry.
The massive incel energy from Kylo Ren in this film. Seriously, right? It starts a little bit where they're on fucking Persona, and he's trying to she's in his room, that's it, and he's trying to figure out where it is, and then he yells to Trooper, I know where she is, and he's really mad about it. He might as well have gone, there's a girl in my room, like, and he's fucking livid about it.
Did she not see the no girls allowed sign?
Literally, later on, he's having this fight with her, and she just fucking touches him, and he's like, oh, the girl I like touched me, maybe I should be nice to her, and then she'll like me.
Yeah.
That's his fucking plot in this. Jesus Christ.
And he was this fucking badass in Last Jedi. But no.
Right, like, it still would have been dumb if the Emperor would have come back. But how much cooler would Kylo Ren have been if he'd have actually just cut the Emperor in half at the start of the film?
That would have been
But
fucking sick.
this is my plan. And he's like, nah, fuck your
I'm
plan. I'm the
doing
Supreme
my
Leader.
thing.
I'm what matters.
Yeah.
Would have been dumb to bring him back just for that, but like, give Kylo Ren something.
Ray literally says, serving another master, and he's like, no!
Yep.
He's such a bottom. Such bottom energy, Kylo Ren.
But you're following their big fight. Rey flies off in his TIE fighter and doesn't notice the the Wayfinder on his dashboard. It's not till she starts burning it later, she's like, oh wait, there were two! Oh, silly me, I'm burning it. Oh, duh. And while she goes and does that, the others get back in the Falcon that is now suddenly fixed because they had to break it so they couldn't land, and she had to climb because it's a reference to The Force Awakens. But yeah, they fix it with the other horse stormtroopers, and they fly back to the base, which is when they find out that Leia's dead. And Chewie's reaction, okay, that got to me. I was like, ooh, Chewie, no. Because everyone he knows is dead, except Lando. But
right, yeah.
His just like falling on his knees and like screaming. I was like, okay. That was all right. That was an okay moment, I suppose. Very quickly ruined by the fact that Dio, the shitty little droid that they've had with him, just knows everything. He just knows all about Exegol, the Sith planet where Palpy's chilling, and he knows it all. And also speaks English. Like, there's no, like, he's speaking the droid language you don't understand. And wait, what? No, he could have just told them, go here. Rather than having all that.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
At least JJ voiced the droid himself, like the most embarrassing. Was it the most embarrassing part about that film?
No.
No, it's not. It's not one of the worst bits. At least he had the balls to voice one of the worst things himself. No, he was just voicing it because no one else wanted to, I guess. And meanwhile, while Kylo's all realizing he's been healed, and his mum's dead, he sees Han Solo, his just a memory, who's like, oh, you killed me, but I'm forgiving you, but I'm only in your head, so you're forgiving yourself.
See, this is why the budget's so high. Half the budget went in.
Bringing him
back.
back.
To come back again.
Yeah.
Another time.
Do you know what though? It's so perfect for him because he gets to take the Disney payday, and then because it's supposed to be a secret, he doesn't have to do press.
Oh yeah.
Perfect job for Harrison Ford.
Oh yeah.
Do you know this scene is exactly the same as Ghost Dad on a mountain from Batman vs Superman. You can tell JJ and Zack Snyder are mates. You can tell.
Yeah. The reappearance of Harrison Ford honestly quite surprised me.
Yeah, same actually, yeah.
I was like, oh, he's back somehow. Never mind. I get that should have been Leia doing that bit. If that had happened, if Carrie Fisher was still alive and they'd had a fight and he starts to have a bit of a redemption, that would have been Leia appearing to him as a ghost, being like, stop being a knob. But as it is, it was Harrison Ford instead. We get all that bullshit with Rey on Act 2 and Luke being like, catching the lightsaber. Why would you throw this away? Ryan Johnson, idiot. He doesn't say that, but you might as well have done.
Jedi's
might as well have
weapon
done.
requires more respect. It's just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Also, Force Ghosts could just touch things now.
Yeah.
Fuck, I hate them so much. Stop fucking using it. You talk about lazy storytelling. They just do anything. They're just people. Death doesn't exist and stuff. Why should I fucking care?
Basically Luke convinces Rey don't give up. Look, you can still do it. The holocron, the Wayfinder is you can still go. Here, have this lightsaber that was hidden in this wall all along. It's Leia's one. What do we think about that cheeky little de-aging flashback of Leia's training?
It looked like CGI. It wasn't as good as the other. I don't think personally. It looked like a video game.
Yeah, I think Luke looked all right, but Leia didn't look as good.
Again, I think it's one of these things where it's like you've not mentioned it at all since the trilogy started about Leia training to be a Jedi, so it just comes out of nowhere. It's just I should care about seeing Leia's lightsaber for the first time, but I don't because it's not been alluded to. It's not part of a character. It's been retroactively added, so it's not really part of the story. It's like the dice in Last Jedi.
Yeah,
I know they were always there, but like in a way that I've not connected them with the story. Do you know what I mean? So it's like when they're made a big deal of later, how am I supposed to feel about that?
Yeah. But yeah, the Luke finally lifts his X-wing out of some water. I thought that was quite nice. The fact that he's doing it, I was like, okay, yeah, sure. He's lifting the X-wing out of the water, and the same music is playing as when Yoda did it. Rey hops in his X-wing. I presume maybe she got like a hairdryer to it first and just dried the whole thing out, because that would have been pretty sodden. And she flies off to Exegol, mapping the route as she goes and transmitting it to the Resistance back at base. And they're like, "Oh, all right, well let's go get them. It's Act 3 time. It's time for the fight." So they all follow her through the mist and rock up with all these Star Destroyers and don't immediately get completely obliterated. Before they do, how they're trying to plan what it is they're going to do, and Pippin from he says, we need someone to pull some Holdo maneuvers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, that was we're not doing that. Fuck you, Rian Johnson. This is minor, I guess, but they had B-Wings back instead of the bombers from The Last Jedi. Which I thought was nice bringing... I quite like that ship's design. It's quite unique, I guess. But, again, that could have just been the bombers. But you've replaced them deliberately to show that you're not The Last Jedi.
The problem here is that it spends so much time referencing other movies that it doesn't solidify anything new of its own for me to get invested in. It's just constantly like, remember Star Wars? And I'm like, yes, I do remember. I could just watch that one.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be something new. A new idea, please.
They have this big fight, and there's loads more bullshit along the way. These big Star Destroyers need guidance from the ground so that they can rise up and fly or whatever. But we can just control it from this one Star Destroyer that doesn't need guidance from the ground. And Rey can fly and fine. She doesn't need guidance. I guess, she gets the Force or whatever, but we've got to blow up a tower on the ground. No, come on.
Silly.
Also, every Star Destroyer is also a Death Star now. Each one has a planet-killing weapon on it.
Oh, man. When he said that, I was just like... It's when they said that they were on all of them, I was like, oh my fucking god. It's somehow getting worse.
Yeah. He doesn't get it, does it? It's this idea. He had it with Starkiller as well. What if it's the Death Star, but it can kill 5 planets at the same time? Well, surprisingly, I couldn't give a fuck, actually. Because like when the Death Star blew up at the first planet, it was meaningful because it was connected to a character that I knew and she made a sad face. And then when it's going to happen again, I'm like invested because, it can't happen again because people are going to make a sad face. And then when 5 random planets die in fucking Force Awakens, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. And they try and make it work in this one. We're like, look, it's the planet where Poe was a criminal. But like, no one's really there to mourn it. I just couldn't care less, and the fact that it's on all of them, well, we said it last week with Fargo, right? Less is more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So while there's this big space battle going on and some horses riding on the side of a Star Destroyer, I thought that was an alright idea, but I saw it in the trailers, so I didn't really care when it happened. Rey goes in to confront Palpatine, and he does the old bullshit of, "Nah, you gotta kill me. Come on, bring it. Kill me, and then I'll put my spirit in you, and then I'll win." And all that.
This is playground dialogue between these two. This is fucking. Oh, I'm more powerful than you. Plus one more than you can ever say.
Yep.
He also pulls the thing, doesn't he? He pulls the exact same thing from Return of the Jedi.
He does do that.
You can stop it. You can save your friends.
Yeah. Eventually, Kylo rocks up. Fine. Somehow he makes his way there in a TIE fighter.
He's Ben now. He's redeemed. God.
And he gets redemption dialogue. He gets to go, "Oh!" when he hits the side of that thing.
Yep. I'm guessing. So he arrives in a TIE fighter, I'm guessing that's one of the regular TIE fighters that was on the Death Star that got blown up, crashed onto another planet. That TIE fighter still functions enough for him to...
Yeah.
I mean, if the fucking X-Wing still functions after like 30 years, being literally
underwater, yeah, you make a good point.
Suppose so.
Yeah,
I suppose so.
Fucking the bounty hunter, Jedi hunter ship still functions after years of just being sat in a desert and hasn't been salvaged to shit by Jawas because you're on a sand planet. You're gonna have Jawas.
Do you know what though? That cut of him running in and it plays "Holding Out for a Hero" by Bonnie Tyler. That's good shit.
It's good. It's very good shit.
And he has to fight off the Knights of Fuck All. And then they do the trick with the lightsaber. And eventually he catches up to Rey and like, oh, now we're gonna kill you. And he's like, oh, wait a minute. Why didn't I think of this before? You two are a dyad in the Force, whatever that means. I can just steal both your life energies. Don't even worry about it. I'm winning. Why? We could have done that to begin with. Just bring her here. Oh yeah, all right. But, no, never mind. And then we get all the Jedi. They do all their voice cameos, and they're there like, oh, we're with you, Rey. You can do it. We believe in you. You can do it. Have you guys seen the edit where someone actually puts in Force ghosts? Yeah. Oh, it's so much better.
They could have done that.
So much better. If someone, I mean, I don't know what talents of whoever it is that uploaded it has, but if they can do it, why can't Disney do it? Like, it clearly wasn't very difficult because
money.
Yeah, true.
And do you reckon they would have? Do you reckon they would have had to have got all those people to come back and film on a green screen, them going or whatever?
Well,
because would they have been able to have used old stock?
I think to film them live action would have cost more than to film them doing the ADI. I think that's all it comes down to. Yeah, I mean, it would have been a different fee.
The ones in the video that you see Yoda. Well, he was in the last film. He's just a puppet. Just bring that back.
Yeah, you could have got Yoda.
Could have got him back. Luke, who's already been in this movie as a Force ghost, just have him there. Archival footage of Alec Guinness as Ben Kenobi. Yeah, you can probably you already have that.
Pop him near the back.
Yeah.
Keep Ewan McGregor near the front.
The other one was Anakin. Or Hayden Christensen. He would just pay him. Just pay him to do it.
You didn't need everyone, but also you could have written better dialogue for it as well. Bring balance to the Force, like I did. Child murdering Skywalker.
Also, by saying
I slaughtered them like animals.
Saying bring balance to the Force by killing the guy that I killed to bring balance to the Force, but if you're killing him again, I can't have done it the first time round.
See, this is the thing with this movie, it makes the entire saga pointless. It's not just that it wrecks sequel trilogy stuff that was set up and forgotten about. That's the simple act of keeping Palpatine alive means that the entire 6-movie original saga, pointless. Means nothing.
But they defeat him by deflecting his own lightning onto him, which isn't the same as just killing him normally, because at some point when all the other ships showed up for the big space battle, Wedge Antilles, the guy who plays Wedge, is back, very briefly.
He fucking hates Star Wars.
Hates Star Wars, yeah. So I was surprised they got him back. I was like, oh, alright, yeah, props, good job. And that ship battle, all those ships there, some are just ones from other films or from the TV shows and stuff. That would have been a great reveal if it hadn't been in any of the trailers. Imagine trailers for Endgame showing the portals scene.
Right.
Having us really think that it was genuinely going to end there. And like you say, having the reveal is not just no, because they're going to come in a minute, so everything's fine. Yeah, exactly. I'm not even on the edge of my seat.
They were fucking playing the Star Wars theme during it so triumphantly. And all I could think was like, Star Wars, these are from Star Wars, you can buy them, they are on sale, also available in Lego. Like, oh, that's all I could fucking think. Like,
that's fair enough.
Like, yeah, great. I remember seeing them in other movies where things happened. Thanks.
Yeah. But ultimately they win. They Palpatine gets melted and a Star Destroyer gets destroyed, and all the Star Destroyers everywhere, all of them blow up, even the ones that aren't there, like the one over Endor and Cloud City and stuff. They all just simultaneously just explode.
People love that shit when we did it in Phantom Menace. Do it again.
It's just not good. And like, yeah, we did it. They go back to their grassy planet with trees and stuff, and everyone hugs. Everyone's hugging. Chewie gets a medal.
Yeah. Box ticking.
It just didn't need to happen. Or it could happen like in the background somewhere, just Maz hands in like a little box and he opens it and he's like happy or something. But no. Right in your face. Look. We did it.
Stop moaning at us.
And honestly, I'd somehow forgotten that the Tatooine bit ever happened, because I was remembering it as like Return of the Jedi, where it's just they're all there, Lando's clapping, and it closes and that's done. We also get the creepy Lando bit, speaking of him.
I was just about to say, and we set up some sort of shitty Disney Plus show.
Not Rose comes along and sits down and goes, "So where are you from, General?" And he's like, "Oh, hello? It's a young lady."
Weird, isn't it?
What weird? Don't like that. And
where you're from.
It's not good. And Rey goes to Tatooine, and she does a cheeky little slide down on the toboggan, like how she does in Force Awakens, and she buries the lightsabers in the sand.
Even though Leia's never been to Tatooine.
And everyone who is from there fucking hates it.
Yes.
Hates Tatooine.
And you get Llama Lady's like, I'm just walking past this abandoned house. No one's been here for
She's got
ages.
NPC dialogue, doesn't she?
Oh yeah.
No one's been here for years. Who are you?
Like, I'm Rey. No, excuse me, did you not remember? The galaxy cares about last names all of a sudden. Rey, what? What's your last name? I don't even want to say it out loud.
No, it's right. It's such a groan-inducing. So here's the thing. Story of the cinema that I was in, okay? I'm giggling all the way through this movie. It's funny as fuck, right? And slowly, people start joining me. It's in pockets here and there. You know, the movie's wearing them down. Two standout bits, right? Are one, when Kylo Ren revives Rey and they snog and then he dies.
What about that?
People were laughing.
Yeah.
People were laughing. I was laughing. Everyone was laughing. It's the big emotional beat of the movie.
Didn't
People
work.
are laughing. And yeah, it really doesn't work. I half expected it to do it again. She revives him and then she dies. And they just keep
seesawing back and forth.
No, you
and
die.
every single time they do it, they move up a base. You know, that's the way that it goes on. So everyone's laughing, right? And then they build to that scene. Rey-hoo! And there's this moment of silence, and this poor kid, he's maybe 10 or 11, that's how old he sounds. He's still into it, right? And he says, Skywalker. He's so excited. And then she goes, Rey Skywalker. And everyone except from, poor Johnny 12-year-old.
Yeah. I had a very similar experience. It was those two moments again, just except the kiss wasn't laughing, it was just and again here. And that was how they ended Rise of Skywalker. It's not been super well received by critics. I've got the Rotten Tomatoes scores here. So does anyone do you want to? I wasn't gonna make you guess, but we've been talking for quite a while already. I'll just tell you. So the other two trilogy of the last Star Wars films, 6 and 3. They were the last Star Wars films that were ever going to get made during their time.
Sure.
Episode 6, critic score of 82. Episode 3, critic score of 80%.
Wow.
Episode 9, 51.
I was going to say, is it a 5
critics.
or 6 out of 10 kind of deal?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Phantom Menace, 52%.
Oh,
Phantom.
nasty.
Any other Star Wars film, any other live-action Star Wars film is higher than this, according to critics.
It's crazy.
Fan score, it's a little bit different. Episode 9 has 86%, which is more middling. 8 has 42 by comparison. So, yeah.
Boggles my mind.
It's pretty strange. It did get nominated for Oscars and BAFTAs. Didn't win any. It got beaten by Joker 1917 and Le Mans 66, that Ford Ferrari one.
Yeah.
I have some fun facts. Apparently Adam Driver had to record dialogue in a wardrobe due to script changes. So you had to record it at home in his
How did my guy
wardrobe
fit in a wardrobe?
to sound muffled under the mask.
What?
The Jedi voices we heard. This might be interesting to someone if you don't know. So we got Anakin, played by Hayden Christensen. Luminara Unduli, who was voiced by her Clone Wars actor. Ahsoka Tano. Ayla Secura, again, her Clone Wars actor. Mace Windu came back. Obi-Wan, they got Ewan McGregor and Alec Guinness. Yoda. Adi Gallia, who is another Jedi from Clone Wars. Kanan Jarrus, who is voiced by none other than Fred from Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed. Freddie Prinze Jr. is so Kanan Jarrus, the guy from Rebels, the Jedi who goes blind.
Yeah.
That's Freddie Prinze Jr. Oh yeah, sorry guys, he goes blind. And Liam Neeson comes back to reprise his role as Qui-Gon Jinn. Yeah, that was pretty much it. That's a long one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry guys.
It was always going to happen with this movie. I think it's fine. Do you know what? This has been a bit cathartic. I definitely feel better now talking about it than I did just post watching it. Like just post watching it, I wasn't like mad in that kind of like, you know, that YouTuber way where you go, you fucking make that face for the thumbnail. I wasn't mad like that, but I was exhausted by it. I was drained. But now I feel a little bit better. So what we're going to do is we're going to go around in a circle and give any final thoughts we have on the movie, and each individual give it a score out of 10. Oh, it's definitely going to reach that number, isn't it? And then I'm going to use maths to get an overall score out of 100 and see where it ranks on a list of the best to worst movies of all time. Amelia, take it away.
Yep, I'll keep it short and sweet as well, because like you said, we've spoken for a while. Yeah, it's not the best. I don't think I'll be watching it in for a while. That being said, I think Kylo Ren is the best thing to come out of this trilogy, and that's not just because I like Adam Driver and us. I do think that if they'd have followed maybe his story and his arc of being trained by Luke, something going wrong, and then what happens 30 years later, whatever, I think that would have been way more interesting, no offense, than Rey's story. I think Rey could have been in it, but maybe not as center. I get why they did it, but I just think Kylo Ren's got more of an interesting story out than she does. So for me, the only score I can even give this is possibly a 5 as well. I don't know where this will even score.
Generous. Jacob?
Finales are hard, apparently. It's not like any other franchise has ever done them well. They have. It has been done before. It's doable. The making of this film, I feel like they made the wrong decision every single time. Even just this trilogy as a whole. Why have 3 different directors and not have... We said it in the Empire episode. When George Lucas, he had main creative control over 4, 5, 6 and 1, 2, 3. He knew the start, he knew the middle, and he knew the end. When they started making this trilogy, they knew the start and ran with it. And it was very obvious that by this point, they were undoing what they did in the middle. So this film was like 2 or 3 films in one film. So much happens, and it felt rushed and bad, ultimately. Although some of it looks really pretty. Some shots are like, I'd have that as a wallpaper. But that's not how I judge movies. That's not how I should.
Nah.
Not all the time. I don't know. I think I'm gonna say 3.
3. Joe?
I mean, all the time. I mean, obviously, mine is the first time because I hadn't really thingy, but both times I've watched this now, after seeing it the first time, it has been a struggle. And, like, the second time we watched kind of like, because Beth hadn't seen any of the new ones, so we watched 7, 8, and 9. And, you know, I got through 7, had to really fight to get through 8, and by the time I got to this one, I was like, oh, cannot be arsed. And it's just, like, when I show my kids Star Wars, they can watch these in their own time, you know what I mean? I'm not watching it with them. They're really that arsed about these. They can do it on their own. I don't want to force myself to sit through it with them, you know what I mean? So I'm going to give this like a 2. So shit. You know what? No, I'm going to give it a 1. It's so shit. It's so shit.
And that 1 is literally
There's
just...
nothing redeeming about it.
Yeah?
It's just a whole mess of missed opportunities.
I fucking agree. That's it. That's the big. That should put that on the DVD. Missed opportunities. Like, I'm sorry. That's the best thing I can say about it. Like, it's unbelievable how much stuff. Like I said earlier, I've got a pile of gold and they're diving into a river of shit. To slightly counter like what you were saying, Amelia, Rey. I think the idea of Rey's character is fucking brilliant, right? What Rey reminds me of. Rey, well, as we go through the trilogy, it's ruined by this one. So in Last Jedi, where they're like, you come from nothing, you're nothing, but not for me. That one, not that bit. I thought that again, you struck gold, okay, right? Because this entire franchise has been about one fucking family the whole way through, and you know what? It's got a bit old. It's got a bit boring. I think particularly our generation, like, yeah. The prequels were about Anakin Skywalker. Yeah, the original was about Luke Skywalker. But there's been so much ancillary Star Wars media that Star Wars to me never felt like it should be about the Skywalkers, if that makes sense. It's such a cool, big universe, and so much of it was explored as I was growing up, that like the Skywalkers were cool characters in it, but I didn't need it to be a part of it. And if the direction of Rey's story should have gone anywhere, it should have definitely gone the direction of what is genuinely my favorite movie. And that's Into the Spider-Verse. The whole point of Rey's character, Rey from nowhere, should have been anyone can be a hero. Like you watching the audience, like watching in the cinema, you Johnny 6-year-old, anyone can be a hero. You could be a hero. And they fucked it away to stay with family and legacy, and they made her a Palpatine. And they didn't understand what they were doing with that, because they do that because, oh, well, Rey's related, Luke's related, it's Darth Vader, and that, blah, blah, blah. But they don't understand that like changed the dynamic between the primary villain and the primary protagonist of an entire trilogy, not just a protagonist and a villain from another fucking series. Do you know what I mean? Like, they've not got a connection. The fact they're related means nothing, changes nothing about this story. If she was anyone else, if she was a Kenobi, would it have been better? I guess by a fraction, but like, who cares? Who cares if I know she's related to someone? What should matter is the character as you write her. And you were going up, and then you took a huge swan dive down. The rest of the movie reflects that. Like, Joe, you said it's a struggle to get through this movie. I was pausing it and doing other things. I wanted to do anything but finish this film. And I didn't think I'd actually be that negative about it, but I had to keep getting up and doing something else. This movie's not a 0. We've had 0s. But it doesn't have anything redeeming in it. And I'm going to go for a 1 as well.
No, I feel like my 5 is way too generous.
That gives us an overall score of 25 out of 100, which places it at number 43 in the list to the best to worst movies of all time. Very low down. The movie. So here's a fun little fact. It is better than Batman and Robin, but it is worse than Twilight. That's where it sits right now.
Is it below Vertigo?
Of course it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I get. Oh, you guys voted that in pretty much the bottom 5, so that's why I gotta keep checking.
Worse than Twilight. That doesn't feel like a crime. Would you rather watch Twilight or this?
Twilight, you can have more of a laugh with.
Get back to me on that, honestly.
Let us know in the comments.
Twilight has a redeeming feature, and that's Supermassive Baseball.
Yeah, okay.
I'll watch that. So that brings us to the most important part of the show, and that's finding out what we're going to be watching next time, our final movie. So instead of doing the rotation or host basis, we've picked a movie that's a little bit more personal to us, which will allude. Nah, fuck it. We'll just divulge. We'll talk about it more next time as we do our final and 50th episode of the Outtakes Movie Podcast, which is going to be on The Breakfast Club. So check us out then. So thank you very much for watching this episode on The Rise of Skywalker. Let us know what you think of this episode and the movie in the comments down below. Consider giving us a like and a subscribe if you like. And if you've been listening to us on your favorite podcasting app, please also hit that subscribe button, that follow button. It's our last episode, but we're not going away. We are going to be back in the new year with something fresh and new, and that should be exciting. You can also check us out on Instagram and Twitter at The Real Outtakes for any updates we have on the show and any other projects we're doing on the way. And you can also shoot us an email if you like at theouttakesmoviepod@gmail.com. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye. Bye.